actually, I never felt that happy. Even when I reached that moment, I was like, now I want something else, and now I want more. And I was like, why am I not satisfied? I told myself 20 years ago that I was going to be happy then.
Yeah.
Why am I not?
Welcome to the Delulu Magic Podcast, where we delulu our mindset and create the most magical version of our lives. I'm Paola.
And I'm Gabby. And today we have a very special guest who is here as our VIP guest. It's our
Thank
first
you.
guest.
Thank
It's
you.
our 7th episode. And I would like to introduce Vlad Garza, who is our designer of our brand.
Thank
And
you.
he is an amazing graphic designer, entrepreneur. And I know for sure that he is aligned with what we're building. So we're very
100%. No,
thankful.
and thank you for having me. I think
Yes.
what you've been building is incredible to see from the conception of it, and
Thank
and when you guys reached out, I again we're going to talk about our journeys and all of
Yes.
that, but even professionally lately, I've been only really selecting who I'm working with. I'm protecting my peace so much that even I choose who I work with,
Yes.
and I analyze the projects and what you guys are doing and why. And when you came to me and you told me about everything and even the name of it, and remember when we were talking about slogans and if
Yes.
it's crazy or not, and I was like, this is the type of people that I want to associate with professionally, to be able to just continue to do what I love instead of not, because I've had obviously experiences in my life where you work with people and you're just not aligned, and that just brings stress. And I always say you have to control your stress, and you should not chase money at the cost of your well-being and your mental health, because ultimately that's going to affect you in the long term worse. So I've been, again, going through a journey. We're going to talk about that, but I think it's incredible what you guys are doing. I congratulate you. I admire what you guys are doing, and I think you guys are going to continue to kill it. I'm sure this is going to turn into a bigger thing. I can see you guys, I don't want to talk what you guys are doing, but I can see having events and bringing people together with the common denominator of, we're all in this together. We're all, we all experience similar things. And again, we're talking about the pandemic and how the pandemic really switched a lot of our mindsets, and we stopped maybe chasing things that we used to chase in the past. And now we understood that, listen, the world can end at any moment. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So we're all taking steps back, and something that I want to talk about is how to balance everything out. I was a person that continuously chased career, because I always attached happiness to professional success. Big mistake. It took me around 40 years, maybe 37, because it's been 2 or 3 years of me thinking like this. And why I felt like this, because I did achieve professional success. I've been in New York City for 20 years. You have to. There's no other way to survive
To live there, yes.
if you're not very successful. What is the bad side of that? You completely start neglecting the other aspects of your life that make you feel fulfilled. And a happy person is a fulfilled person. And fulfillment has different things. It's not only professional success. That's one of them. And of course, you have to go for it and look for that. But you also have to understand when you're comfortable enough to start thinking about the other aspects of your life. And then brain chemistry and all of that. But I also don't want this just to be a monologue that I can totally.
No, I
conversation.
absolutely love everything you said. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes we're chasing, whether it is the way we look, we're chasing this external thing. For me, it was career success as well, money, right? And you feel like, once I attain this, I will be happy. And then you start playing this game, and all of a sudden 40 years have gone by. And it's, so when I get here, I will be happy.
Yeah.
But then you get there and you're like, no, just a little bit more, or no, I'm going to reset my goal. And you are constantly in that state of chasing, and also disconnecting, like, from yourself, right? Instead of going within, we're kind of like looking at what we can get externally. And it's not really filling that void.
And this is why you meet a lot of people that are very successful, and you look at their life and you're like, I don't think this person is that happy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you meet this other person that might do well in life, but maybe they're not the wealthiest people in the world. But you look at how they can, how they're in the control with the relationships and their family, and their physical appearance and their health, and you're like, I'd rather be this person, because they're happier. That other person might have success, professional success, but not a fulfilled life that has to do with a lot of other things. So now my relationship with money completely changed after I had that. Like, I was like, okay, money is a tool to be able to then continue to foster other aspects of your life, right? So that's when I was like, I'm not gonna neglect my personal relationship with my wife or with my family because I'm choosing success and I'm chasing it and chasing it and chasing it, but at the same time I'm working 14-hour days and when is the time to be with your family, be with your wife? So I came to that realization. I have to do it differently. Otherwise, if I continue this path, something's gonna happen to me because there's no other way around it. Something's gonna happen to you.
Yeah. And I think that's happened to, again, like you said, to a lot of people,
A lot of people.
like in
A lot of
all
successful
aspects,
people.
that were like you're on that one track mind, and then you kind of wake up and you don't realize what's happened.
Too
Like,
late.
where am I? Why am I here? Why am I not happy with what I've done? Or, I have the things, or I have the success, I have people recognizing it, but there's still like a part that's not feeling well. I kind of will give you, like, for me, I had a little bit of the mental stuff come in, and I've have come from family business, so I've worked with family, and that's a whole different
That's a
monster.
beast.
Yes, that's a beast. So that's the learning to, like, take myself away from that and separate and find my own identity led to, like, a lot of the mental health, and not having, like what you're talking about, which I want to really hear about that, because that happened for me. My dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's. What is it? 14 years ago, almost 15. My dad was uber successful, just focused, came, they immigrant, third grade education, and my parents have built, a dream life. But he sacrificed everything for that. So when this diagnosis comes, I go into freak out mode. I'm like, we think we can still control it, and we're gonna figure this out, and we're gonna do this together. And it took a long time to accept it, and that led to my own, that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do the same thing. I need to figure this out, because the chances of me having that are pretty high.
Pretty high.
If I live the lifestyle
Continue
that
that
my
path.
dad has lived, because he just chased success, money, but he always said it was for you guys. It was a lot for him too, but he chose that life. And seeing how it affected his brain, and as more as I learned and researched and heard doctors, I mean, we went to so many, I mean, all over, right? Here, everywhere, trying to figure it out. And everybody was the same thing, from older doctors in their 80s to, like, the younger ones. They're like, it's coming from, like, your brain chemistry. There was things that affected you, didn't do, serotonin, all that. My dad couldn't comprehend it. Again, he was just like, fix it, give me something to
I
take.
have money. Look at
Yes,
all I've done. Like,
fix.
that's what this is for. And sometimes there's those things that
There was, and I will
crazy.
tell you, that is a blessing that we have, that he had the means to, he's lives a good life. But it was very hard for him to understand that he could not buy back his time and his health. And that, for me, was my big lesson, that it was like, oh, okay, here comes, you're having things, you better deal with them. I'm still dealing with them, I'm still processing them. So for me, it's comforting to be around like-minded people that are open to having the discussions, and letting the world know that, hey, there's more. You could do something before it's late.
And I could have seen myself in that life as well, because again, growing up, especially when I became a young adult and I moved to New York City when I was 21 years old to follow my dreams. And at the time, I was chasing it. I was chasing my dreams, and my dreams at the time were professional success. To me, that was happiness. I'll be happy when I become the best designer at the best city in the world. I'll be happy then.
Yeah.
And I completely neglected the other things. I'm not saying it's not important. It is as important and other things. 20 years later, I'm still in New York City, living this crazy life. I achieved that dream. I made it. I got there. I got there at my companies, and then I've worked with incredible brands. I've worked with all the brands, and you've probably used apps that I've designed in the past, and that's all great. But I think around the time of the pandemic, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, I started feeling. Actually, I never felt that happy. Even when I reached that moment, I was like, now I want something else, and now I want more. And I was like, why am I not satisfied? I told myself 20 years ago that I was going to be happy then. Why am I not?
I'm even surpassed that, and I'm still
Why am I not? And then, for example, I read the book, this Matthew Perry book, the guy from France who just passed. And there was one phrase at some point that completely changed my life. He talks about how he was auditioning for Friends, and one of his best friends was also auditioning for the same role. At the end, they gave it to Matthew because there's some scheduling conflict, and he kind of got estranged, became estranged to that friend because he resented him from getting the role that he wanted, and how all the success and the money,
Yeah.
right? Years go by, or even months go by, and Matthew Perry was always the person that chased that and completely neglected the other part. And unfortunately, that was what happened. He was a good guy. I read
Yeah.
his book,
Yeah.
and he tells his friend when they were having a moment in a discussion, maybe months later, and he told him, "Yeah, but you have all the success that was supposed to be for me." And he told him, "Guess what? It doesn't do what we thought was going to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel what I thought was going to feel. I'm still here, sitting in my castle, completely sad and addicted to things to make me feel better." And all of those things, I was like, all right, I have to stop chasing this. Unfortunately, in a city like New York, you have to,
Yeah.
because you won't survive. Why do you think the reputation of a New Yorker is
Hustler.
and all that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
why? Because I've learned now how to tie it all
Yeah.
back to something. I've always been a very skeptical guy. And you tell me something that I cannot prove scientifically, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, because show me why, right? So growing up, don't get stressed. You go to the doctor and it's all stress. I was like, this guy doesn't want to do his job. It's has to give me
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
It is stress. And the moment I understood it is when I started to understand about brain chemistry and how stress, highs your levels of cortisol. And cortisol is an actual chemical that lives within your body. Then if it's too much, you get sick, period.
Yes.
So then it ties into all this concept of don't get too stressed because you might get sick. There you go. And I was like, holy crap. Sorry. And I started
Like they
thinking
were
about
right.
and I started learning about brain chemistry and what dopamine does. What is dopamine? Dopamine is the feeling that you get when you achieve a goal, usually professionally. Dopamine gets you that feeling of oh my God, I set a goal and in 3 months I closed the deal. You close a deal and you go somewhere and you lock. I do this. I lock in a little room or my car and I scream to celebrate. That's the dopamine feeling. It's a
Yes.
high.
Yeah.
It's a high. And some people are addicted to that. And I've read so much that once you abuse dopamine, you have to have dopamine because that's ambition, motivation, and success and all that.
Yes.
If you abuse it, then you become this arrogant person that has to be maybe it's a little controlling, maybe a little aggressive. We've all met
Yes.
successful
Yes.
people that
Absolutely.
are controlling, aggressive. What? Because they abuse dopamine. They went a little too far than what they needed.
Yeah.
And then now we talk about serotonin, which is basically the opposite, right? Serotonin is calm. It's meditation, it's sunlight, it's walking around, and that gives you peace. That gives you long-term happiness. You have to balance those things out. If you abuse serotonin, you become that person that's just peace and love. I don't need to work.
Yeah.
It's also as bad as dopamine. We've all
You
met
have to have
people
that
like
balance.
Yes.
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 and then you have the oxytocin, which is the love chemical. You need deep conversations. You need physical touch. You need laughter. You need that touch. And people neglect that too. And you have to have that
Yes.
up there with dopamine and serotonin at the same level. Then you get endorphins. How do you feel when you leave, the exercise and that all balances out? Think about that person that's a bodybuilder. All they care about is endorphins. Those people, I've met them. They're also not that happy.
Yeah.
They forget about all that and they start neglecting relationships and they completely forget about the other aspects of life. And to my point, don't abuse any of them, but also don't neglect any of them. So right now I'm in a journey of balancing all of these things out.
I
I've
absolutely
reclaimed
love
my
that.
brain that dopamine is not what you should be chasing. Chase it up until you're comfortable with it. And you don't need more than that.
Yeah.
Build your life that's comfortable enough to then start attacking the other aspects of your life. And that's a journey that I'm on right now. And it's decodifying my brain entirely. Start over.
Decodifying the brain. I love
Entirely.
that.
Yes. Yeah.
Because my brain is coded. It's been
Yes.
coded one way. Because society, New York, family, friends, you have to keep up.
Yeah.
You have to keep up.
Ourselves. Yeah. Yeah.
And as a society, it is our responsibility. We all have to take responsibility for ourselves, right? And
Entirely.
figure out, yes, what are maybe, our relationship or issues with, let's say, money or issues with, control or success or the things that, where we have to go deeper and then take responsibility and figure out how to decodify those things. So I
100%.
absolutely love that you're working on that.
That's where I am at the journey, and not perfect, but I'm making a lot of changes in my life.
So what are
to
some of those
balance.
changes? I want to hear
Yes,
because I want
yes.
to implement.
We love to hear that. I mean, because
There's a
it's good-
huge
it's
one.
good.
There's a huge one happening right now. Me and my wife, which my wife she's been teaching me about this a lot. When I face a bad season in my life, which
Yeah.
I've been with my wife now 3 years,
Mhm.
and I faced bad seasons during these past 3 years, and the way that she attacks them and I attack them have been completely different. I go crazy. I'm
Mhm.
completely imbalanced. Now I understand. Completely imbalanced. I don't know because I'm not. I don't lead my. I didn't lead my life in a balanced way.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had a moment, I didn't know. I didn't have the tools in my mind to attack them
Yeah.
because again, to me, it was all nothing was proven.
Mhm.
So why are you telling me that if I go exercise, I'll feel better about this
Yes.
money problem or this client problem?
Mhm.
I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife, she always attacked them so calmly, and she would get outcomes much better. And I would be like, how?
Mm.
It's because she understands the balance. She understands also the magnitude of the problems, and
Yeah.
you cannot allow a problem to completely consume your life.
Yeah.
And you will not allow it if you're balanced. You
Mhm.
will not, because you understand the place that problem has in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not gonna let it live free in your brain
Mhm.
to consume you. And
Yeah.
then again, this is not this woohoo moment. This is tied back to a physical situation,
Mhm.
event that happens within your body,
Mm-hmm.
that again open up the body and you see the
Yeah.
liquid or
Yeah.
something. It's a thing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's going to turn cells into bad cells, and that
Mhm.
turns into a disease, and
Mhm.
that turns into something happens to you.
Yeah.
So now I understood that. Here's a change that I'm doing that I haven't told you about.
Yes.
This we are leaving for a little bit our crazy lives in New York City, and we're moving to this beautiful little hacienda in Yucatan
Oh my gosh.
to
Amazing.
spend the summer there. Why? To look for that balance,
Yes.
just
Mm-hmm.
chase that
Yes.
balance. In New York, you don't sometimes have the time
Mhm.
to be in nature, to
Mhm.
be with
Yeah.
your partner, to be
Mhm.
with your friends. Sometimes the winter in New York, I was talking to my parents about it. Sometimes you're just not outside.
Yeah.
You're just not
You
outside
don't see
for
sun.
months, for
Yeah.
weeks.
Wow.
And think about the cold places in the
The
world and how
seasonal.
the suicide rates are so high. You need sunlight.
Mhm.
That's part of the serotonin that if you don't have it, you won't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So big change that we're
Yeah,
doing. So
that grounding. Yeah, like I'm
oh,
always trying to go out in the morning now before I'm
and
like, I
I
was the
didn't
same. I'm
understand
like,
that.
Mom, I don't, it's
Yeah,
fine.
why do I have to
Yeah.
walk barefoot in the grass? That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
dumb. It's
It's that
not.
connection.
Yes.
There is an actual physical and scientific
No.
proof that the earth,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
energy that's in there, it
Yeah.
kind of
Because
recycles back.
we're all energy. We're all
Mm,
part of the same system.
It took me
Yeah.
3 years to
Yes.
get here.
It's
Oh no, we
same.
just got there. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We
But I feel
just
so lucky
arrived.
because some people never get there. Some people go their entire lives,
Yes.
and then just
And they don't understand. They'll believe it. They do
Isn't
not
that
believe it.
crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
I
hope
can.
this reaches
Yeah.
somebody that might not even think about this, and please go on Google and look this up.
That is
You're gonna
connected.
feel this enlightenment like I felt. I
Yes.
felt like I discovered a treasure when I started reading about this.
Oh.
yeah.
It's like my life is gonna change.
And that
Starting today.
you connected with it, like right there
Connected. It all makes
and you received it.
it all
That's
clicked.
Yeah.
huge too, because
It's like your soul, like
yeah,
it's like
clicked.
we all know, but it's deep inside and not, and you don't realize it
I
right
felt
until
like I unlocked, like when you're playing a video game,
Yeah,
you unlocked a
yeah.
new world. That's how I felt. I feel like
Oh
I unlocked a new world. I'm like, okay, and that doesn't say it's gonna be perfect, but at least I'll understand the journey now. I'll understand what I need to do.
Mhm.
And there has to be a change when you're feeling drowning in something. It's probably that.
yes.
And
It's probably
I also think at the time that we all wake up, right? It's the perfect time for us. Everything that happened, I've realized everything that has happened to you happened for you. All those experiences that we saw as negative, that we felt broken, that we felt just exhausted, and you can't understand why that was happening. But that all took you to now
Mm.
figuring out like something has to change. I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling, whatever. I'm tired of the chase. And we wouldn't have had those experiences. We wouldn't get there if we hadn't had those experiences.
yeah, 100%.
It's hard to understand or to honestly believe it when you're going
Yeah.
through it,
Yeah.
because you're like, I will switch places with anyway. Like, this is not good. I am not liking this feeling.
100%.
But when you get to that final outcome or in the process of it, I think you're like, wow, it was worth all of that.
It's a beautiful journey, and I think worst case scenario, you realize that it didn't work because you didn't do it the right way. Like
Mhm.
if you follow exactly what you need to do, there's no way you're going to feel bad, because you understand that all of these things matter.
Mhm.
All of them matter. You cannot neglect your relationships because you're chasing success,
Mm.
professional success. You cannot, because you're gonna get up there, and we see leaders of the
Mm.
world having this crazy success, but completely out of touch
Mm.
with humanity, and completely out of touch with people, because they chased the win, they chased the high, and they
Mhm.
chase it every day, and they don't want to get down of the high
No.
because the
Yeah.
crash is horrible.
Yeah.
So they continue to chase it, and every day win, 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 win. We're winning, 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 and that's good. but unfortunately, I don't think you're a happy person. And now think about, you go to the beach, right? And you're walking around and you see this taco shack in the beach in Mexico, and you see the owner. He's probably doing well. He's probably not the
Mm-hmm.
wealthiest person in the world. Look at him and talk to him. He's probably gonna be a happy person
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because he balanced. He decided to go there, and he's in nature all the time. He's probably nurturing relationships, and he's making business and money. But I don't think he's probably killing himself. So I'm
Yeah.
starting to think, what is a relationship with the very successful person that you can know that there might not be?
Mm-hmm.
Why do celebrities kill themselves? What causes commit suicide? One of them was Anthony Bourdain, which I hope
Mm-hmm.
you know who he
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
I always looked up to him,
Yeah.
and I remember when
Oh,
he
it
did
was
what he did.
devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me forever to understand why.
Yeah.
Didn't you have
Mm-hmm.
the perfect life? At least to all of us,
Yeah.
he was
Mm-hmm.
lonely. He probably neglected oxytocin. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't probably having the relationship that he should
Needed.
be having or needed with his
Mm-hmm.
family. He was estranged with, like, all of those things, and then you understand.
Yeah.
You understand
Yes.
that achieving crazy wealth, great if you did it. I
Mm-hmm.
hope you did it in a way that you weren't neglecting the other things, because if you did, you're not a successful person to me.
Yeah.
You're not. You don't. I
Yeah.
don't. This doesn't wow me.
Yeah.
Wow me when you come to me and say, I have a good business, but look at my relationships, look how happy I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Yeah.
I want to be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
be
I
you. Know
feel
what I
the
mean?
same way, Blythe. I've grown up seeing my family has achieved big success across the board, extended family, and there's lots of parts of me that I'm like, well, how much is enough? Like, when do you stop? When do you stop to kind of get in?
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I thought I saw a lot of later. Later you'll do. Later.
Mm.
Once you get there, once you have more, and if you're not hustling, you're not,
The society
yeah, like you're not,
society told
anything.
us
So,
that
Yeah.
that was the way.
yeah.
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 Society told us that was the way. What, as a person that
Yeah.
lives in society, how do you feel when you walk around the beach and you see this person just laying down on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. doing nothing? A local. Think about a local.
Yeah.
And you go to
Yeah.
Mexico and that
Yeah.
local is just saying,
Hang
what
it.
do we think as society, or as Americans?
Yes.
How do we see them? This person is lazy,
Yes.
and maybe that person is happier than us.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yes. Yeah.
But ultimately, that's the journey that I'm on, to understand that there's a better way to do life
Mm-hmm.
than the way that we've been told growing up. And I'm on that journey. I no longer want to kill myself working 12 hours a
Mhm.
day and neglecting everything else. Now I'm on a journey to understand how to build a life that's comfortable for me and the people
Mhm.
around me, and then keep it that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean there's a lack of ambition or
Yes.
motivation. That just means there's a new motivation to achieve all the other things in your
Yes.
life. And ultimately, when you sell a service or,
Yeah.
or a product or a business, people want to do business with the person that they feel comfortable
Mm.
with. You could have
The
gone
connection.
to a million design agencies. We connected,
Yeah.
and there was
Mhm.
something about it.
Yeah.
So I've learned that as a businessman, that they can buy and whatever you sell anywhere else. Your
Mhm.
clients can buy anything
Yeah.
that you sell anywhere else.
Mhm.
It's who you are that you got the connection, how how we interact and all of that. So I think that's another thing. Once you feel that way, then you start attracting,
Mhm.
because people see that value. If you put all these things that you're chasing very, like, so in a pedestal, and you're always chasing them, people also perceive that. They're
Mhm.
like, give me, give me, give me, give me. Like,
Mhm.
people are like, all right, let's this person might maybe not make the best decisions because they're all only chasing what's best for
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
But if you take a step back and you nurture, I want to nurture this friendship as well.
Yes.
So I'm not seeing this as give me, give me,
Yeah.
give me. That this is exactly
Mhm.
what I've been doing, only
The
with
ebb
you,
and flow
Yeah.
of
but with the clients. And I
Yes.
feel like that is then you can achieve even harder professional success, even in a balanced life. That's when you see people creating passive incomes or stuff like that, because they understood, and they're not working 12 a day.
Mhm.
I know people that are very successful that they built their success, and now they work 2-3 hours a day.
Yeah.
They make
Mhm.
more money than all of us, and they live a very balanced life.
Yeah.
That is the person that I want to be. Not, you meet your
Yeah.
friends, and how are you doing? I've been busy all day. I'm like, that hustle is not impressing me, dude. If
Yeah.
you're trying to be like, oh, well, great, you're working out, you're not impressing me.
Yeah.
I'll be impressed when you tell me, doing great. I just went to the pool,
Mhm.
had my breakfast. I
I
sat
got
down
to
and had a couple of
meditate. Yeah.
meetings.
Mhm.
That is the life
Yeah.
that I want to achieve, because that is a life that gives you balance.
Yes.
We're here to enjoy, right, this world, and so many of us, don't. You mentioned something a minute ago. I had a question. So you mentioned attracting, right? So that's, like you said, that's when you can start attracting the life you want. And for somebody that was very analytical,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So the law of attraction and that kind of thing. How did that was this something that you were skeptical of from the very beginning? Vibration, our thoughts have a vibration. What we say is so important. Tell me a little bit about your journey with that, because it seems like that's something that you
You're on.
believe and
100%. When
vibe
The
with.
Secret came out,
Yeah.
I was a hater. But what I needed is understand the relationship
Mm.
between what can be proven
Mm-hmm.
and all of these. Because
Yes.
again, if you come to me with a woohoo moment, I will
Mm-hmm.
not believe you.
Yeah.
Come to me with proof of how it really
Mm-hmm.
affects something for real. Show me.
Mhm.
So this, I'll tell you how this ties into a reality, right?
Mhm.
Attraction and visualizing and attraction. Example, if I come up with, I'm starting a new business that I'll tell you a little bit more about, but how do I visualize it? I create it. I create the business. I
Mhm.
create the website,
Mhm.
and I see myself in a month or two or a year,
Mhm.
having the business thing
Mhm.
going. So, and the way that you attract is balance, again, balance, and not portray that high dopamine person, that
Mhm.
person that's chasing. Don't chase, attract, because if you rebalance the way that you talk to people,
Mhm.
those things
Mhm.
start to
Yes.
materialize.
Yes.
And it's not a woohoo thing,
No.
it's real. And I've seen it in myself when I've been on the chasing, even when I was, hoping to meet somebody in my life.
Mhm.
When I was in the chase,
Mhm.
that's when I had the worst times of my life in
Mm.
terms of
Yeah.
dating and all of that. When I start focusing on being a balanced person, I don't know what it is. Maybe women, if they see a balanced person that's not
Mhm.
chasing, they feel secure, and they feel a little bit more safe in a
Yeah.
in a person like that, because they know that their mind is not completely compartmentalizing everything and chasing only one big thing in their minds.
Mhm.
Because you don't want to be with a person like that, because they're just only going to make decisions towards that goal, but they forget that there's other five things that you also need. So it's when I took a step back and I realized all those things, it's when things started to come. So then I tied it to reality. It's no
Yeah.
longer a, visualize and think and read the secret and you're going to get it.
Mhm.
No, put it in practice and then it works.
And that is what being Delulu is,
Yes.
right? Delulu magic. But you
Yes.
have to then do the
Well,
work,
we talked
right? And then
about that.
take
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's action involved. It's not like you sitting and just
You're not
thinking,
sitting and
these thoughts,
hoping.
and it's gonna. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
You're
and
you're
And then
actually
serotonin, like you
putting.
said, I'm
Yes.
meditating all day. It's gonna
Yeah.
come like it.
Visualizing and
But
manifesting
Mhm.
has to be tied to action.
Yes.
Because visualizing the way that
Mhm.
maybe a lot of people
Yeah.
think about, close your eyes,
Yes.
visualize, and then open your eyes, and it's right
right
there.
Yeah.
Visualizing is good because it leads you to steps and a path to
Mhm.
achieve those things.
Mhm.
Visualizing to materializing, there's action between those
Yeah.
two things. You have to visualize it, because otherwise you don't know what you're working
Mhm.
towards. So now if I start a new business, I need to visualize it being successful.
Mhm.
And then I take a step back and see about all the steps I need to get there. So
Mm.
visualize the one thing, but then you need to start
The
taking action.
steps.
But
Yes.
visualize gives you the path.
I thought it was the craziest thing when I was like, if you see that, and if you can, right, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and not real. Like if you visualize it and you feel the emotions, it thinks it's happening. And when I read that, I was like, this is crazy. But why have we not been doing this?
And also you start conducting yourself as if it's already happening.
That's a big.
And that attracts.
That does.
That
That does.
attracts. I don't know if it's tied to the fake it till you make it. It might,
Yeah.
it might be.
It could
It's
be.
just another
It's all
just it-
related.
but it's about, I'm already there. I'm
Yeah.
on my way there.
Mhm.
Meaning I can service you because I have the tools
Mm.
to, or I can sell you this product because I already know how to do it. So that's just the actions that you take and you get there.
Yeah.
Like you guys did here.
Oh yeah, I feel like both of us are definitely we're on a journey.
We
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and it's been for me the word I would use is very liberating, and to kind of wake up and realize, oh, there's so much I can control by putting into steps, actions, and learning that there is, like, I love that word balance, because I know people are like, no, it's never gonna happen. I felt for a long time as a woman, like I was lied to, like you were gonna be, like, mom, why all the things, have work and all and be perfect. And then that led to so many years of, like, inner turmoil, I will
Yeah.
call it, because I just never felt like I was doing enough. There was never balance. And I lived constantly trying to juggle. I call myself an octopus, and they all know I have because I felt like I always had to have everywhere,
Yeah.
everything, and never like me. I never thought of who I was, what I needed, and then going into all of this, then now I'm like, okay, I can create the life I want. I can be. I've told her lately, there's a lot of situations that come up that I'm like, that's not the person I am. That's not the
Mm.
person I want to be. So I have to lead this life now that I'm creating, right? And really follow in my thoughts, what's coming, So it all goes back for me a lot of how, so my body can be healthy, so my mind can be healthy.
Did you have an aha moment? Was it a
I
health
did have an
issue
aha moment
that
about
made
3
you feel
years
like,
ago. Yeah, I was down on my knees. Yes, that it was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you paying attention to? What are you really doing? That was it. And and that lodge, I mean, you know me, like from personal, right? Right. But I'm like, got the 4 kids, I have a husband, we've been successful, and it did not mean what you said about Matthew Perry. Did not mean
it
that I
it
was
it doesn't feel the
not,
way you thought
yes,
it
Yeah.
would feel,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that is the
yeah,
lack
yes,
of balance.
yes,
And once again, you
yeah,
there's two people. There's two types of people. The ones
yes,
that finally got it, and the ones that didn't. I hope
yeah,
this reaches people that maybe
yeah,
are feeling that way but don't understand how to get out of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
And this is how you get out of it.
yeah,
This is how you get out of a stressful situation.
yes,
Because again, tying it back to the physical, your
mhm,
stress is just high cortisol levels that need to be rebalanced with other chemicals in your
yes,
brain.
in your,
And you Google it and you'll see exactly the guide to get them.
yes,
There's meditation.
mhm,
If you're looking for serotonin, that's what's
mhm,
missing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a high serotonin person,
yeah,
get to work,
yes,
set goals, achieve
yeah,
them,
that's,
go to get
yeah,
endorphins. Like
mhm,
again, an imbalance is the worst way to live because you will never feel fully satisfied because a person cannot feel fully satisfied if there's not a full cycle of everything.
yeah.
So how have you shifted as far as like things that you're implementing every day? Where you just like, I'm going to do this on a daily basis? Is it something that you do in the morning and something that you do in the evening to try to help people figure out how do they put some action behind this?
The things that I've been doing, and again, this is a recent journey, and I'm gonna
Mhm,
say maybe 6 7 months up until now. The things that I've done differently is set a time where I stop working.
Mm.
You have to stop working. Another thing is be more intentional in the mornings.
Yeah.
mhm,
The way
oh,
that our personal life is structured right now, me and my wife, is we live 40 minutes outside New York City
mhm,
now. We moved a little bit out to
mhm,
the suburbs in Connecticut. And so I drive my wife at 7 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to
mhm,
the train station where she takes the train for 40 minutes into the city, and she works 12 14 hours a day.
mhm,
That's her current
mhm,
structure, and a
yes,
reason why we're also
Yeah.
doing this big change, right? For me, it's not the way. Then I drive back home and it's 7:30 in the morning, and I don't start till maybe 9 or 10 my meetings.
mhm,
So now I've been more intentional. Before all of this, I was going straight to my computer from
mhm,
the station. I started work at 7:30, and I'll stop when I pick up my wife at 8 p.m. So I was doing also
Yeah.
13-hour days.
Yeah.
And that has to stop. Because
mhm,
why? Because at the end of the day, I was tired. I wasn't fostering
mhm,
conversations that I should.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I didn't have time to go to the gym because I was just tired. So no
Yeah.
endorphins either. No oxytocin because maybe I wasn't, all of those things that I was neglecting.
Mm-hmm.
When I understood all of this, I started taking action. Mornings, there's a moment in the morning that are for me. I'm actually going to cook
mhm,
breakfast. I never cook breakfast because I live in
mhm,
New York.
yeah,
Nobody has time for that.
yeah,
I'll
Mm-hmm.
take breakfast and I'll feel
yeah,
better. And maybe I'll meditate, or maybe I'll read something, or listen
mhm,
to a podcast that is no longer, this news podcast that will, because I'm a
yes,
news junkie. I'm
yeah,
all about news. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something also that you don't need. Not
mhm,
saying
yes,
none of it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm saying balance it.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
Before all of this, and I'm taking 8 months ago, I was just spending 4 or 5 hours a day with deep, crazy news in my brain from
Mm-hmm.
7 a.m. to like noon.
Wow.
And then it was
Yeah.
music.
it was,
Yeah.
But the first 4 hours of my day, I was being bombarded with everything that's going on.
what you
That
said,
affects you. And then, 5:30, 6 p.m. comes, and I'm no longer working because
mhm,
now I see work as something I do between 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
I don't see work as something I do before or after. After that, I'm Vlad. I'm a
mhm,
husband,
mhm,
I'm a brother, I'm a friend, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something new in my
I
life.
love that.
That's
I
something new.
like
yes,
And
that.
I like that
I've also
too,
heard giving yourself a deadline, right? If we give ourselves 2 weeks and then like you push it to the very end, right? But if you say, hey, I want to get all my stuff done within this period,
you
you
focus,
figure out a way
and you
to get
focus.
that done versus it taking, those
And you're
extra 3
focused, and
hours.
then-
I like that.
and then another action that we're taking is also understanding that New York City might not be a city where you can allow yourself to work be only a thing that you do between 9 to 5, because
mhm,
then maybe you won't have enough to survive in this
yes,
crazy
yeah,
city. And this is why people overwork in New York, because that's
mm,
the only way probably to survive, unless you come from generational wealth, which is not
mhm,
my case.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build it yourself.
mhm,
So another action we're taking is just removing ourselves from this toxic environment, at least
mm,
for the time being, for the summer. We're only doing it
mhm,
for the summer.
mm,
And my wife is going through this journey. At the same time, she'll tell you, I also overwork and I get too tired, and maybe we don't
yeah,
go out and enjoy our lives because we're just too tired between Monday and Friday. So this new action is we're going to spend some time where we can really balance ourselves out, have slow mornings, maybe with meditation and yoga, and then we cook breakfast, and then we work and we focus for the hours, and then we maybe take a little swim at 2 p.m. because why not? Because you need it. Because if you don't, you probably won't be that happy. And then the 5 p.m. comes, and you know what? We're done with work.
Mm.
We're not going to talk about that. Let's just go to a happy hour, or maybe let's just go to the gym, or let's go
Mhm.
take a class, and then connect and have deep conversations, and do it again the next day.
Yeah.
So I no longer feel the way that I've been
Mm.
feeling for the past years.
I think that's going to be transformative.
Yes.
Transformative. And you know what?
Yeah.
The past few months, sometimes I would wake up and I would feel, chest, not pain, but like chest pressure. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never felt this way before.
Yes.
Is it?
Mhm.
And am I just old?
Yeah.
I'm not.
No.
I shouldn't be feeling these things
Yeah.
at my age. It's all related. And ever since I started, learning about all these things, I feel better. I'm already feeling it
Just
feel better.
these changes, imagine following action
100%.
to get yourself into complete balance.
Yeah.
And so, of course, your life is going to be
Yeah.
have the outcome you
Yeah.
want.
And I'm visualizing it,
Yes.
and I'm taking the steps
Mm-hmm.
to materialize it.
Yeah.
And by steps, I mean, we put down the offer
Mhm.
for the house that
Yeah.
we're getting in Yucatan, and,
Yeah.
and we're buying the flights, and
Yes.
we're adjusting the
Your schedules
routines
and all that.
and the clients, and getting rid of the ones that don't
Mhm.
serve us, and keeping the ones that do, and again, setting ourselves up to find what we're looking for in our
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And maybe once we reach that balance, it's an easier way to then come back. Maybe, I don't know if in New York City to come back to that life,
Yeah.
but maybe back to a more, in
Mhm.
America or something. We don't know, but in a different way. Now
Yeah.
we're here thinking about life differently and no longer chasing certain things.
And surrendering and trusting.
Surrendering and
Right.
trusting.
I think
Yeah,
that's such a
that's
big
the way to
part
do
of
it.
it. I love that.
Yeah, that is.
We just attended, and I think you saw it,
Yeah.
a live podcast with Danny Morrell and Lewis Howes, and it was
Yeah.
incredible. And it's interesting something that you said a little bit ago, like the chasing, right? Or even when you were out in the dating scene, right? The chasing versus like okay, I'm going to be a little bit more balanced. And Danny talked about being in the masculine versus the feminine. And I haven't dove into that too much, but I found it really interesting because he was like, when we're in the masculine, we are chasing, we are work hard. And I think that is the normal way that we function in society, right? Versus being in the feminine, and we both have male and the female energy, which is the
Receiving.
receiving. Thank you, the receiving energy,
Mhm.
right? And I feel like some of the things that you've said that naturally, without maybe you even knowing, maybe that's some of the stuff that happened where you were like, I'm going to be in more of that receiving energy and
Yes.
allowing things to come in.
And yeah.
How has that played a factor? I mean, because I think you said your wife was very into Danny Morrell. Is that something that you've
Yes,
into?
and again, growing up as a society and as a man in Mexico, so you have to be all of this. You have to be this and this and that, and don't even attempt to go on to the other side and be a little calmer and in the receiving. And again, it's chasing the balance. So I understand that, and and being in the feminine part of receiving and all of that and the energy, I think it's important as balance, and we all have to have a little bit of both or a lot of both, but balancing it out, because you have to have both. Again, if you abuse one, you're not doing
Yeah.
it the right way. You have to make sure to keep both. And yeah, big fan of him as well, and my wife is as well. And I know he's married to a celebrity in Mexico that we all grew up with, Martha. And yeah, I've been also reading about him, and again, people that found it, people that at some point in their lives had an aha moment, maybe with a bad situation that was happening, and they search for answers, and I'm glad that they're telling us how to
Oh,
how to do that. And
absolutely. I think I'm so grateful that all that information is out there. And you mentioned, so there are a lot big thing they were talking about was money wounds, our money story. How has your money story impacted you, and how has that evolved over time, right?
You said
that
it's
you've come
changed.
from.
Your relationships changed.
100%
Yeah.
my relationship with money was always, I just need you, and I don't care about anything else, because if I have you, then my life is easy. And it is in certain ways, because it's a tool, because then you no longer have stress of, I don't cannot pay my bills, which that contributes to a lot of stress. So it is important that's why I keep saying, continue to search to chase, business and ambition and motivation. Continue to do that, because otherwise everything else will collapse
Yes.
and fall apart. So you need that part. But if you do it intentionally, then it changes. So my relationship with money changed. Now I'm like, we're partners. I need you
Mhm.
to help me with this, but I only need you as a tool
Mhm.
to fulfill everything else. I no longer put you in the pedestal that I did before,
Yeah.
because then there's a constant feeling of needing more and chasing, and again, till all the levels come up and you're stressed and all of that. So I changed my relationship and I told money, basically, we're partners now. I'm gonna look for you when I need you for to be able to do the other things that I want to do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So now I look for money in different ways. I look for money in things that fulfill me, in clients, in creative work. I'm a very creative person. So I don't know, I'm trying to choose my clients. If this client, you can tell that the project is not what it aligns with my beliefs, then I maybe don't want to, because then that period of time is just going to be a stressful period of time, only to achieve money. And I no longer want to only achieve money at the cost of other things,
Mhm.
and with a high price and impact
Yeah.
in my life. So that's how my relationship with money changed. Now I know that I need money as a tool for my things, but
Mhm.
that is not the only thing that I chase anymore. And you know what?
Mhm.
Again, money comes easier
Mm.
when you're balanced like that.
Mhm.
When you align yourself, because other people start aligning with you, and it becomes a cycle,
Yeah.
and we all help each other. And I think that's how it's changed.
Yeah.
And I think I probably have more money when I started thinking about those things now.
Yeah.
It's true. It is true.
And seeing it as a partner.
As a partner, it's
Yeah.
a, it's a
That's
tool. It's a
yeah.
tool for your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's shoes that you
Yes.
put on
Yes.
to walk.
Or
It's
Mhm.
not the goal
yeah.
in life. It's not a goal in life. It's a tool to then really
Get your
achieve
goals.
your
Yeah.
goals in life, which
Yeah.
should not be money.
Yes.
Should be happy, should be travel with your family, should have experiences, should be close, maybe help if somebody,
Mhm.
if my parents, whatever they need, I hope I have money to help them.
Yeah.
That is a tool to then achieve
Mhm.
happiness and success, not money itself.
And I wish they would teach that in high school, or to our kids, right? Because when you talk to
The
these
youngers.
younger generation, high school, it's like, I want to, make this amount of money,
Yeah.
right? But also explaining, what is that money for, is to have these experiences. Because sometimes we get that money and then you're like holding on to it so tightly because you worked so hard to get that money, right? And you're not enjoying it. Your relationship is just like the first thing you said. I can't recall exactly, but I feel like so many people feel that way. I want you, and once I have you,
Yeah.
I will be
They
happy.
do. And then they start filling the gaps with just buying them things, and,
Mhm.
and then needing more money and needing more money.
The
And the
never.
chase, and then the chase kills you,
Mm-hmm.
because you think you need to fill it. But those gaps that you're filling with money and things that you're buying are those gaps where you neglected. Our relationships, faith,
Connection.
even
Yeah.
connection,
Yes. Yeah.
self, serotonin, well-being,
Yeah.
nature. But you think it's other things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when people, buy the big houses or the cars, and they drive them like, oh, that was cool, but I still feel the same way. That was
Yeah.
me. That's been me for years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I started to fill those gaps with things, but then nothing makes you feel the way that you're supposed to feel. I thought having all this money and all these things was going to make me feel that way. It doesn't do what you thought was going to do. It's when you start building other things, and then you have a relationship with money, because you thank
Mm-hmm.
yourself to be able to have that success, but only because now you help me do all these other things.
Yes.
That's how I see money now.
Yeah.
I don't need you to give me happiness. I need you to help me use you to then go get my happiness
Mhm.
elsewhere with experiences and help. I love helping people. That's
Yeah.
Generosity.
when I was growing up, and
Yeah.
I thought about, oh, I'll be the richest guy in the world one day. And what I would think that would make me happy was, oh, and then I could buy my parents all of this,
Mm-hmm.
and my sisters all. I never thought, oh, and then I can go buy myself. It
Mm-hmm.
was always, I would
Mhm.
smile harder when I would
You
think
thought
about the
about
things that
that
I would do to do it for other people.
for other
Yeah.
And so that was me being young and understanding that money was just only a tool to then feel fulfilled with using that for something else.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for you being here and for sharing. And
No,
is.
you guys
It
are
is.
killing it. I manifest and visualize success
Yes.
for you,
Yes.
but with the actions that you're taking
Yes.
to get there. We're not closing our eyes and then
No.
looking
No.
at something and it's going to be in
No.
front of you.
No.
You guys are doing the work,
Yeah.
but you guys are doing intentional work,
Mhm.
because you visualize the what you want, where you want to get to,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you're planning and you're stepping and you're doing the podcast, and I'm sure more things are going to come later with your brand.
Yes.
So I'm excited about all of that.
yes,
It
we
is
have
very
things
exciting.
planned. We are visualizing big things and just creating a lot of impact. And I think for us, it was more, let's do this podcast, but not for the point of monetizing. It's for the point of, let's help people not feel as alone. And if you can live more Delulu and live in that frequency, you will create more abundance. But also go back and look at
Take
your
action.
old story,
Yes.
right?
Take
And the
action.
old things that
Working.
what's your childhood wounds so that you can repair that
Yeah.
and then jump into this reality and create in the most
Yeah.
intentional way to be as delulu as
And the best
possible.
part of this, and you just said not to monetize it. What's
Yeah.
crazy about all of this is because you're attacking such other aspects of this that the monetization of it will come naturally and organically. Why? Because you didn't start this to chase money. You started this to chase connection and all of that, and people are drawn to that. And because you're also helping people, so it's a win-win for everybody. And it just monetizes in an organic way instead of in a let me do this because what I want to do is money. Like, and that is the key to a successful business, I believe, at least right now.
Yes.
Because that's the only way, because you can only make so much money, pretending to do things to just, to help, but it's not real. And people will find out that your goal was to just make money off of things or people. And again, this back to me choosing who I want to work with. You guys clearly had this intention, and it's intention that I'm on right now as well, to not chase money, but chase connection and help and all of that. And I think that's what we align.
And I can't wait for, I feel like, again, more humanity is awakening. And imagine if more creators and more entrepreneurs created in a way of just from that energy of we want to put something great out, and it's not necessarily just for the money. Obviously, you want to make sure that you can make a living, but I feel like it's just going to be so expansive for so many people and much more fulfilling for people.
I agree. And the bad things that are happening in the world, I think, yes, they're bad, but also they will be eye-opening to a lot of people. And I think the society is gonna have a big shift coming up, because people are realizing that that's, you have to be human and you have to have connection, and we have to be open to the world, and we have to, understand that we're all different, but we're all humans, and we're all here on our journey to happiness.
Yes.
Everyone here is on a journey to happiness, and happiness looks different for a lot of people. If somebody has a definition of happiness that's different to us, we cannot think that they're in the wrong. We have to understand that everyone has their own journey and their own life, and we cannot create a version of happiness that works for me and then hope that everybody else has to do it. And if you're not doing this, then you have to leave. You have to go, because this is not what we want. I don't think that's fair. And I think we're all in a journey to happiness, and we should all respect. And that's why kindness and empathy is important, because you don't know what journey that person is going on or is on right now. So I think, again, what's happening in the world, I like to see the bright side or the silver lining of what's happening in the world. And I think it's going to be a generational society shift in mindset, where people are going to be like, there's bad people in the world, but let's do good. And yes, bad things are going to happen, but I think it's going to reset into a better thing.
So question, how can people find you? And also, is there anything exciting that you're working on that we can support you with? Yes.
You can go on my Instagram, Degraphique. My personal Instagram is Vlad Garza, at Vlad Garza. We have a design studio, Degraphique, where we provide services as branding, webs, a lot of product design, apps, and all of that. And we're launching a company that we've talked to you about. It's called Heirloom, and it's a company that we're going to do content creation and social media management and a lot of digital marketing, but with AI. And we're going to use AI tools to provide real reports, real data, so we no longer post and manage social profiles just guessing what works, but doing it intentionally with data, with trends, with audience. So that's the new business that we're launching. We already have a couple of clients lined up, so we're super excited to build content. I think it's going to be a very fun thing to do, and it's ultimately it's tied to design, and any design aspect of this company is powered by Degraphique, which already is this. It's a good thing. So that's her journey, and more, much more coming up.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So
Congratulations.
yeah.
I want to hear more about that.
Definitely. Well, Vlad, thank you for joining us today. This was exactly what we all needed. So remember, nothing changes unless you do.
So stay Delulu and make it happen.
Bye.